Hello and welcome to Tipsy VP episode 22nd May 2020, a weekly show where we share tips and tricks on how to improve your social media. Tipsy VP is brought to you by Virtual Peddlers Marketing, humanizing, rehumanizing your marketing experience. This week's weekly Tipsy: how non-profits raise funds. Running a non-profit organization is a very completely different animal than a conventional business. You don't have much running cash. And because you don't have products or services that you can sell, you cannot generate profits as well. You're not supposed to make money from anything anyway. It says it right. Now, non-profit is non-profit. But you also have other leverages that can turn giant wheels that corporates cannot budge with however much money they have. Before embarking in my adventure as a CEO of Virtual Peddlers, I spent 5 years running a non-profit organization. It is here where I learned a lot about the true meaning of value. And today I will share some of them with you. Number one, it's about value, right? Everyone has something they see of value, and they're usually quite different from others. Corporates have annual CSR allocations for areas like education, humanitarian, and sustainability. They are ready to part ways with their cash, provided you give them what they want. And like I said, they don't always want the same thing. Some companies are happy with an honorable mention in a gala dinner, in which you have to organize the gala dinner, while others prefer to have their brand names scattered across highways. Don't tell them they are helping save the environment or refugees. If the donors are honest with you, right, they don't really care about those things. All they care about is their bottom line. The stakeholders, they care about their bottom line because they're coming up with the cash anyway, right? And how this donation will contribute to their bottom line. Never assume they are all ready to commit to a good cause. Always take time to understand what value they want in return. Sometimes you'll be surprised, these values can cost you less than you think. It's because they can't get it, so they feel that it's valuable, but it's easy for you to trade it off, so it's not valuable to you. Number two, it's all about connections. Your next job will be to find someone who needs the money and will be able to give the donor what they want. So now you have a donor, let's say, for example, we look at a CSR donor, right? They give you a bunch of cash, let's say 100,000 ringgit. Then they say, I want X, Y, and Z, right? So now you have the cash, you need to find X, Y, and Z. You need to go find someone who's able to give X, Y, and Z in exchange for the money. The more people you know, the more values you can identify, because then you can actually, draw the dots, right? Connect the dots. Who needs something that someone else has? Usually it's not a simple connection. If they want X, Y, and Z, someone can only give them X. So you give a portion of that money for the X. Sometimes they want X, but they have Y. Then you have to trade X for Y. And then, it comes around. It gets a bit complicated. Kind of like a barter. So you will have the upper hand the more people you know. So the key here is that you have to go out and find more, get to know more people, get to understand their values, understand who they are, what is it that they want, what do they have, in order then next time when you meet someone else, you talk to someone else and you say, hey, you know what? This person has something that you want and you have something that they want. So, I can connect you guys. Number three, it's all about trading favors. Sometimes when you take something from someone, you owe them a favor, right? And when you do something else for someone else, they owe you a favor. Don't be worried about returning the favor from your pocket. The magic of running a non-profit is nobody expects you to pay them. After all, you don't have money, right? So, what you do is you trade favors by connecting someone who owes you a favor with someone who you owe a favor. Again, the more people you know, the easier you can connect the dots. At the end of this thing, both parties, the one who you owe and the one who owe you, will thank you. And you didn't even have to dig into your coffers for this thing. You don't have to come up with a single cent. You just have to connect both parties and both of them will thank you. Number four, sum of its parts. When running a non-profit, you have a few departments on your plate. Usually, there are daily operations, events, newsletters, social media. In my case, I also had education. Because I used to run the Canadian Business Council. So I had education and also regional business opportunities as well. Understand and accept that not all departments will make money from you. Some will even bleed money from the cash flow standpoint. It doesn't mean that you should shut it down. In my experience, the newsletter department or the magazine department never made money for us. We actually lost. We keep bleeding money every quarter. But because it had international viewership, we could trade advertisement slots for something we can find of value. So even though from the cash flow standpoint, from the balance sheet standpoint, it's losing us money, but from the value standpoint, it's actually making us, it's getting us more ROI in return. So that's why we need to find other businesses that make more money to cover it, don't close it down, and keep it running so that we always have value to trade with people. And even if that traded item does not immediately benefit us, we can always find someone who wants it, right, in exchange for what we want. So all departments actually act as the whole that is greater than the sum of its parts. Before you axe a department, before you close up a department, take a step back and evaluate its greater purpose. And usually you find that it can do more than just keep your balance sheet black. Number 5, never do it for free. Although you do not profit from any transactions, you are non-profit, does not mean that you should do it for free. Values and favors are nice, but they can't feed us, right? In the end, the world is run by money. You are entitled to a little commission for providing services to your connections and members. Your skill and your ability here is that you know people who knows people who can give other people what they want. That is your skill, and you should not give it away for free. It should be charged. They should cover your daily operations and extra savings for rainy days, just in case if things don't pan out. You can also set aside a certain percentage of all your profits for other CSR projects that you can do for other bodies as well. But always save a little bit of money. It's okay to do that, just so that you cover your rainy days, and always pay your people well so that they will continue to love what they're doing. All right, let's recap this week's weekly Tipsy. It's a bit different. How nonprofits raise funds. Number 1, it's all about value. Find out what value your donors want, and then give value to them. Number 2, it's about connections. The more people you know, the more dots you can connect. Everybody gets happy. Number 3, it's all about trading favors, right? You give someone a favor, you do someone a favor, someone does you a favor, you trade favors around, everybody thanks you, everybody's happy. Number 4, sum of its parts. There are certain departments that are not making money, possibly losing a lot of money for you, but these departments may create good value, so you should keep it because the whole is greater than its parts. Number 5, never do it for free. Always charge a certain fee to cover your costs, operations costs, and everything like that. Pay everybody nicely. Keep your office running and all that, and keep a little bit of savings so that if things go wrong, you can tap into it and keep your organization afloat. Right, so that's all for this week's Weekly Tipsy. Tipsy VP Podcast is part of Social Media Weekly. It's available on Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. Our full videos are available on YouTube, and we post bits and clips on Instagram and Facebook. This is Tipsy VP episode 22nd May 2020. My name is Sean. Stay safe. Au revoir.